Romania just had a pretty damning report come out from the U.S. Department of State regarding the human rights practices in Romania in 2024. Now, this report was started under the Biden administration, but it was altered to reflect the policies of the Trump administration. And I'm going to read a few of these articles out to you because some of it seems kind of new to me, but now it's crystal clear how the Trump administration views the situation in Romania, at least from the 2024 standpoint. The 2024 Country Report on Human Rights Practices, specifically for Romania, and this is state.gov. This is an official U.S. document and press release. It talks about first the cancellation of the elections by the CCR, where they stated that multiple irregularities and breaches of electoral law compromised the transparency and fairness of the electoral campaign and raised suspicions regarding the fairness of elections. The U.S. didn't view it that way. They said the court's ruling was criticized as political interference in an election and an undue restriction on disfavored political speech of an unprecedented nature and severity. Significant human rights issues included credible reports of restrictions on freedom of expression and crimes, violence, or threats of violence motivated by anti-Semitism. The government took credible steps to identify and punish officials who committed human rights abuses, but in some cases, government actions were insufficient and impunity was a problem. Under Romania's freedom of the press and the liberties section of the human rights practices, the Constitution provided for the freedom of speech, including for members of the press and other media, and the government generally respected this right. Independent media organizations and international observers noted a lack of transparency of media ownership and non-transparent financing of media outlets by political parties, as well as editorial policies subordinated to the interests of political parties or owners. Reporters and civil society representatives said their freedom of expression was sometimes limited by restricted or paid access to information of public interest issued by the government and public institutions, including expenses, contracts, or bids involving public funds and the academic records of public officials. Reporters and non-governmental organizations often had to sue state-controlled ministries, agencies, or local entities to access public information. Some reporters throughout the country were harassed, sued, or threatened by authorities or individuals whom they investigated and reported out, or by proxies. Yes, I too, Fat Torn Gaming, have experienced threats and harassment and pressure from authorities. The Constitutional Court annulled the results of the November 2024 first round of presidential elections, ruling that multiple irregularities and breaches of electoral law compromised the transparency and fairness of the electoral campaign, raising suspicions regarding the fairness of the conduct of elections. This was criticized by some as undue restriction on political speech. The Constitutional Court's decision portrayed the election as having been unduly influenced by a Russian information operation on social media, but